This episode is brought to you ad-free thanks to all of our wonderful patrons. You can get tons of exclusive content, including bonus episodes, warm-up audio, and early access to episodes, all while helping us keep the show going by joining at patreon.com/shonenflop.
Welcome to Shonen Flop Chibi, a first impressions mini episode where we talk about the first chapter of the series we'll be covering in depth next week with our guest, artist Carly Janine Mazer.
Oh, I'm excited. She is a Magic Gathering artist. She did a very famous piece of magic art that people can go look up and they'll know, oh, she did that, but she's great. And I'm really excited to record with her.
Yeah, I really like what you show me of her work, but speaking of that, I'm Jordan, and with me today, as usual, is my lovely co-host, David. Say hi, David.
Hi, David.
David, why are you so down?
Because we're covering Muddy this week, and I can't believe it. I finally had a good Hi David gimmick that wasn't shitty, so we'll see. We'll see. It comes back when I'm inspired, you know? It's like killing Kenny in South Park, where it's only if they have a really good idea for it.
That's fair. Can't do it all the time anymore.
Yeah. That's what happens when you turn 30.
It's okay, David. It's okay.
It's okay. Let's get into the manga details. So, Jordan, tell us about it.
Yeah, so this is Muddy. It was created by Aimoto Shou. It ran from December 17th, 2007 to March 17th, 2008. So this is like an older one.
Mm-hmm.
And this went for 14 chapters, and that's 2 volumes.
Hell yeah. We love a short manga king.
Love a short, little dirt, muddy.
Speaking of the topic of king, this is actually the first manga we have ever covered that has 100% unambiguously confirmed female author.
Really?
I had to have Maxie B double check. I cannot believe it. But yes, there are people that people think are female. Yes, this is a woman who wrote this.
God, it sucks how sexist the manga industry is.
But in our defense, it's literally called Shonen Flop, where most shonen authors are male.
And also, we have confirmation that Shonen Jump is actively and proudly sexist. So, you know.
For reference, we read a meta-series called The Right Way to Make Shonen Jump with wonderful guests Joey and Luke, so people can check that out on our Patreon.
And Shonen Jump editors are asked, would you hire more female authors if possible? And they're like, no, this is called Shonen Jump. We should make it more manly.
Why would we make Shonen Jump worse by hiring the females?
But also, if we have to make something that appeals to girls, we know how to do that. Fuck off. Anyway, we're not talking about fucking that shit right now. We're talking about Muddy.
We're not talking about Mud Butt. We're talking about Muddy.
Clay is a scientist whose job it is to create artificial life forms called chimeras. Despite being a prodigy as a kid, he hasn't actually been able to create anything and so is fired from his job. Man, David, former gifted kid, am I right? You know what that's like?
Right? Oh, yeah, gifted kid burnout. We love to see it.
Yeah. Clay soon discovers a lab in the countryside, and in a haze of desperation, he accidentally creates a humanoid chimera named Muddy, who is a small boy that eats dirt. Popcorn David.
Clay works in a nearby town as a chimera doctor when one day a shitty rich kid named Kogane meets Muddy and realizes he's a chimera. Later that night, Kogane and his father, Kugane, I wonder if Kigane will show up at some point, or Kelgane, asking to buy Muddy to put in their chimera zoo. Clay says no because he is his gross son, and Kogane attacks him with chimeras. Kugane finds Muddy and asks him to eat dirt for him, and he eats so much dirt he gets absolutely massive, turning into, well, an absolute unit. It scares Kogane and Kugane away. That's really how we should be dealing with the bourgeoisie.
The absolute size of this lad.
So, Jordan, what were your first impressions besides saying, wow, what an absolute unit?
Well, this is interesting, I guess.
This is someone's fetish.
Yeah, but I don't think it's the authors. I'm going to give the author. I don't think that's fair to the author.
Women can't have fetishes, Jordan Forbes.
No, but this doesn't feel fetishy, David, is my point.
Yeah.
I do think it's funny that, Clay is just straight up, as we said, a failed gifted student.
Yeah, you can definitely feel it. I wonder if the authors had a ton of shit where she was like, oh, I'm just really wasting my time making manga, and this is semi-autobiographical.
It comes from a place of reality.
Yeah, we've all been there. If you're making a podcast, you're not living up to your potential.
No, exactly.
Hi, Dylan. I love you.
Haha. So this series reminds me a lot of Golem Hearts so far.
Yeah, I know you actually said you want to do a Golem Hearts parody as the cover art, right?
Yeah.
God, did you have an idea for that?
I mean, aside from just using Golem Hearts official art and replacing the characters.
Oh, okay.
Like we usually do.
I didn't know if you wanted a Golem child daycare or something, and it's just the two dads watching them eat mud in a playpen or something, or in a sandbox.
Sure.
Okay.
That's good. All right. That's good.
It's like jazz.
It's like jazz, I guess. You improvise.
This is a very weird series to talk about, and we definitely are going to have a really fun guest talking about it.
Yeah.
I think on that note, the art is actually pretty good, especially for art that's over 15 years old.
It's interesting that, like, it almost feels more like a sci-fi manga than like a shonen battle manga.
Is it supposed to be a battle manga?
I don't know. I kind of just assume everything we read on this show is going to be a battle manga.
That's true.
I'm usually right.
Yeah, everyone's like, when is Rory Dragon turning into a battle manga?
Oh, it might. I don't know.
Oh, God. I think it's supposed to be a gag manga, which sucks because it's not that funny. It's just like, you just kind of feel secondhand embarrassed reading this whole thing because everything just feels so awkward, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not terrible. I don't think it's awful. I think it's interesting.
Interesting is the word.
I don't really understand what the author's trying to do yet with it.
I have a feeling the author doesn't either.
If they're just trying to tell a story about this guy raising his large, young, muddy child, then, like, that's interesting.
I know we definitely have seen fatherhood as like a theme, but we've never seen fatherhood be like the plot of a manga I think we've covered before, which is like the one thing you can't say as a positive. This is doing things we haven't seen in a manga before.
Yeah, like the fact that Muddy doesn't use cool powers or attacks. He just gets big.
Yeah, he gets extra thick.
It's like everyone's favorite Rick Moranis movie, Honey, I Blew Up the Baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that.
I also will say there was at least one funny joke where the ripping the check joke, which I've seen before. So for context, he's offered like $1 billion for his son. And he's like, I won't do it. Here's your, and he's like, and he tries to rip it off, but it's so much money. He won't rip the check off.
Yeah, he's just like, just take it.
It's funny, but I've seen that joke before.
Yeah.
So Jordan, would you say though this is a gag manga?
I don't think it's a gag manga. There aren't enough jokes or even like attempts at jokes. It's not even that the jokes are falling flat.
Yeah.
It's not really making any jokes. It really is like if Golem Hearts didn't turn into a battle manga.
Mm-hmm.
If that were the case, it would be like, well, what are we even doing here, Mr. Golem Hearts? What's even happening? And that's kind of how I feel about this.
Yeah.
What's even going on here, author? I mean, I'm not out all the way. The series might truly be trying to do something genuinely different from what we've seen before, which is very interesting, but I wouldn't say it's the most compelling, you know?
Yeah, I do feel like the author has put some work into making this world feel kind of lived in. It's kind of funny. This actually does feel like a Flintstones world where instead of all the animals being like, it's a living, it's different chimeras, like they have like their trucks and stuff pulled by chimeras. And it's just like chimeras are like all the appliances and stuff, which is just funny. It's absolutely ridiculous, but that's what it made me think of.
Yeah, I did like how they have a Pegasus that's like, they're like, it's a Pegasus, but it's a horse with butterfly wings. And Clay's just kind of like, well, it certainly is a horse with wings. There's absolutely humor and jokes in here. It's just the jokes don't feel like the main point.
Yeah, I wouldn't compare this to Dr. Slump like we did the previous series.
Yeah.
Just a humorous manga that has a scientist in it. Also, yeah, it is kind of weird we're doing 2 magic scientists in a row, but what can you do about it, right?
What can you do?
If I had a nickel for every time Shonen Flop covered a potential gag manga that has to do with a magical scientist and their child, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird it's happened twice.
We might have done it more than just...
We probably have. Listeners, tell us if there's more cool magic scientist gag mangas we've covered.
I mean, again, this reminds me most of Golem Hearts.
I completely agree now that you've put that on the table.
Yeah.
So, Jordan, though, would you read our 10 chapters of this?
No.
No.
As I said, it's kind of interesting, but not very compelling.
Yeah, I got what I needed out of this series.
Yeah.
In this first chapter. At least it's short, though.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yes.
So that's always good, right?
Yeah.
So Jordan, though, what do you think will happen next, my friend?
So I think the townsfolk are going to try and push Muddy and Clay out of here because they find out, oh, he's a chimera. We just thought he was like a gross little boy. Which, you know, fair. I mean, little boys tend to eat dirt anyway. I think there will be hunters coming to take Muddy, but he'll have to quickly eat a lot of dirt to get big.
Do you think it's just every chapter is, oh, how is Muddy going to eat dirt this week?
I kind of hope so.
This isn't my guess. Maybe that should have been is. I wonder if the different dirt he eats has different properties. So imagine he eats like a bunch of sand or a bunch of cement and it like changes his composition.
That's kind of interesting.
Fuck that. That's one of my guesses. You tell me which of my 3 guesses was the shittiest and we'll drop it.
All right. And then I think Muddy will have attacks and they will be mud themed. I don't know. What do you think, Dave?
It's very hard to make guesses based on this.
Yeah, it's very hard. I will say, to this series' credit, this chapter was not cliche in the same way that a lot of other chapters we read are.
Yeah. What nifty art term would you use to describe this? Dadaist. I got it.
God damn it, David. David, this is the recurring joke that David does not know what Dadaism.
I took my 2-year-old nephew to the art museum, the Met, and they just kept thinking every painting was Dada. And I was like, what a fucking plebeian.
Okay. What about you, David? What do you think's going to happen?
All right, I think the chimera mechanics will be explained really poorly or not at all because they just kind of exist without any explanation right now. We are going to find out Muddy is the reincarnation of someone close to Clay. So maybe they had like a natural child or, like a younger brother that died.
David, your next one's the worst one.
Oh, thank you. Word about Muddy gets out, and Clay has to decide if he wants to use him to get his fame and power back. So Jordan is officially saying, I'm going to strike that one from the record. For Muddy eating different material will give him different abilities or change his composition.
Yes, I think that's better.
And I'm going to genuinely jump out a window if the one I rejected was the one that was true.
It's probably going to be true.
Jordan's been kicking my ass. See, Jordan's 400 IQ getting rid of the one he thinks is most likely to happen so he can stay ahead in our chibi guesses.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, Jordan, you genius. But that's not my power word. My power word is Rocky, because Muddy, Rocky, and this was a Rocky chapter.
Because it takes a lick and keeps on ticking. It's gonna go the distance. It's gonna run up the steps of the art museum.
Yo, Adrian. And it's got a bit of a road ahead of it. A rocky road, one might say. Oh, Ben & Jerry's has a new ice cream flavor I really want to try. Did you see they have fudge pretzel now?
No.
That looks really good. I genuinely want to go buy some.
Maybe, but whenever I see Ben & Jerry's, I just always get Americone Dream. I still do.
I love the Tonight Dough, even though I really hate Jimmy Fallon.
I'm not a fan of Stephen Colbert right now.
What did he do?
No, he's just not funny anymore.
Oh, yeah. I saw him live twice, though, and that was fun.
He has the capacity to be funny. It's just like...
But he chooses not to.
He chooses not to be.
You're just mad because he has a really bad Donald Trump impression when your favorite person in the world is the king of the Donald Trump.
Yes, it's true. Zach Hadel, a.k.a. the guy from Smiling Friends.
I'm surprised you haven't emailed him to see if he'll come on the show.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you'd be more excited.
I mean, it's just like, I don't know. I don't know if he would.
Yeah. Anyway, back to it. Yeah.
But yeah, mine is actually rich because this story, that's rich. And also there's some rich assholes in this series. And also Soil is rich. There you go.
I love it. All right. And you know what? I also love our Q&A. So let's get into that. As a reminder, you can drop your questions in the Shonen Flop Discord. We give priority to those who haven't asked a question before, are a patron, or haven't had a question answered in a while. Starting with Booty Stank, very fitting given the title of this series. We are all fans of thick women in manga, besides Red Hood, because she be dummy thick. Who is the thickest girl you have ever seen in a manga?
I'm going to say Noi from Dorohedoro. Classic muscle mom.
That's a good one. I mean, literally, if you look at anyone in One Piece, Smoothie from One Piece, there you go.
Who is?
Smoothie, that's one of Big Mom's children.
Oh, Big Mom is also very thick.
Yeah, Big Mom is also extra thick. I'm trying to think, what manga have we read that had the least amount of respect for women's proportions? Was it Bokusan? The woman just had gigantic breasts.
Yeah, or Appearance of the Yellow Dragon.
That was a recent one, too.
Oh, God.
When is Debonair getting that spin-off?
I don't know. Someday, David.
Did you see that meme I made where it was like Debonair Diamond?
Yeah.
Naputa from Maku-chan, and what's her name?
Minerva.
They were all doing the epic handshake thing, and it was like side characters that should have gotten their own manga and flops we've covered.
You know that image isn't like a painting. It's literally like...
It's from a Team Fortress 2.
No, it isn't. It's from Predator, the movie Predator.
No, but that itself is a painting that was made. It's based on Predator, but it's a painting from Predator. I know exactly where that drawing literally came from, a shit post that the creators of Team Fortress 2 made like 15 years ago. I'm like 90% sure because I read it when they did that. And then there's another one where they talked about like the heat signature of the handshake.
Okay, no, I'm going to give you that one. You seem to I trust you on this one.
I was there, man.
You seem way too confident,
Listen, man, I was there when that shit post was read, when they used to care about Team Fortress 2.
No, it's like when I say that, like, I was in the thread where they invented Slender Man.
Yeah. That's Kino.
Yeah.
That was a good question.
Hey, so this is David coming from the future. I was wrong. It's not from that comic, so sorry.
Next up, we have a bit of a theme for our remaining questions.
Hell yeah!
It was Mega Man Week in the question zone.
These questions are for me!
From ZC Digital, they asked, who is your favorite robot master?
Oh my god, just asking me which one of my children is my favorite.
is your favorite from at least your favorite game?
I don't think so. Let's see. It's hard to like pick. On one hand, like I like Shadow Man because David, he's like the ninja robot.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, fun fact, all the other robots in that game are built by Dr. Wily, but Shadow Man is an alien.
Really? I didn't know that.
Dr. Wily just like found him.
That's amazing.
Like all the other, like for no reason, as far as anyone can tell. He was just there. I think my favorite though might be Turbo Man because he's a car and he can turn into a car. And I think that's dope.
A robot turning into a car?
That's my point, David.
Do I have a franchise for you?
I love Transformers. It's like a combination of two things I loved as a kid. So I also really like Swordman because Swordsman's whole thing is he was built to hold a specific sword. He was built specifically to like display a sword that Dr. Wily stole.
Is it also a sword from space?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, that's lame.
Yeah.
Mine is Metal Man from my favorite game, Mega Man 2. I just love him. He's a cool guy. Also, he has definitely the best weapons. He always beat Metal Man first.
Most broken weapon in the whole fucking series.
I don't care. It's what got my
so
12-year-old self through that game.
Oh, man. I also love how Heat Man is just like a lighter.
Oh, yeah. I also love Airman, that song about Airman.
Yeah.
That's like 20 years old.
Or Dustman, which is like the opposite of Airman.
Have you heard the Airman song?
I think so.
So, yeah, so it's called I Can't Beat Airman, and it's just like a shitpost song because he's a really easy boss. Next up, who is your favorite Maverick from Mega Man X? And this comes from Dude Rocks.
So my favorite Maverick is Duff McWhalen.
J.K. Rowling trying to name a Scottish person.
So, amazing story behind the name. So people will be like, oh, his name's Tidal Whale. No, fuck you. His name is Duff McWhalen. Because
is it like a 4Kids thing where he says my name is Tidal Whale, but my friends call me Duck McWhalen?
No, it's amazing. So Mega Man X5 was translated by the girl from the Big Comfy Couch, if you remember that show. And her boyfriend really liked Guns N' Roses, so she decided to name all of the Mavericks in that game after Guns N' Roses members.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So Duff McWhalen is named after Duff McKagan.
I mean, but a music reference in Mega Man.
David, that's not the ridiculous part of this, and you know it. Come on.
No, it's fine.
Duff McWhalen, incredible name. Also, his design's really fucking cool, and he exists to clean up the oceans and protect the ocean.
I love it.
Duff McWhalen, dope.
I haven't put a lot of thought. I just said it's Storm Eagle because I've only played the first Mega Man, and he was cool.
Storm Eagle's cool.
This is really Jordan's time to shine with these.
Yeah.
All right, and then finally, from Generic Man, who is your favorite net Navi?
Oh my god, David, you know about Video Man?
Yes.
Video Man is amazing. First of all, like, he's from the worst game, which is Mega Man Battle Network 4.
Is that the one that's a really terrible translation?
It's got a really shitty translation, and the game wants you to beat it 3 times in order to see all the robot masters, but the game can fuck up and have you have the same encounter 2 times, so you end up not seeing all of them. It's really fucking...
so stupid.
It's so fucking bad. It's so stupid. But Video Man is in that game. He has a really cool design. He's, like, inspired by, like, AV composite cables and shit.
Yeah.
And there is, in the story, a virus that goes around and infects all the Navis around. But Video Man is fine. David, do you know why he's fine?
Why?
He's an analog net Navi.
God, it's so stupid.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about? He is an analog digital creation. It's amazing. So, Video Man is my answer.
Mine is Searchman because he looked cool.
Yes.
And again, I didn't put a ton of thought into this because I knew Jordan was going to take the most amount of time talking about all of his favorites.
Oh, yes.
I think you've doubled the number of Mega Man tattoos you've gotten lately, right?
Yeah, from 0 to 0.
Nice. Just like me.
Hell yeah.
All right. And then finally, our last question, because I lied, is what are the manga requirements for patron exclusives? From Sandman. So there aren't a lot of requirements. When we do long form, we do try and probably keep it under, I would say, 7 or so volumes, just so we're not doing like 5 months of the same manga. But that's it. We're open to doing first impressions, doing reviews of the initial parts of a series, doing pilot reviews. So there's a lot of different stuff. And also, it really depends on the availability of guests and just what kind of content they want to do. But yeah, there's not really any rules. And of course, if you as a patron perk are welcome to, at the Ravioli tier, you can help us figure out mystery box content. At the $25 Dolphin Dead tier, you can pick a piece of Patreon content. And at the Chainsaw Man tier, you can just pick a series we'll do on the main episode. Anything you want to toss in with that, Jordan?
No, I think that's good.
All right. Well, Jordan, I want to say thank you so much for all of your great work on the show and editing the GB.
Thank you, David, for all the work that you do on this series.
Props to Shannon for the awesome cover art. Find her online at illuminyatea. Thank you, Dylan, for assistance with editing. You can find his podcast, Anime Out of Context, at animeoutofcontext.com. Thanks to Tucker and Maxi B for assistance with pronunciation, translation, other miscellaneous research. Find us on X at Shonen Flopcast, Tumblr, Shonen-Flop, and our website, shonenflop.com. We're on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, wherever else you get your podcasts. And come join the Shonen Flop Discord. Open to everyone. Hang out with us, talk about anime, games, whatever else is on your mind. It's where you drop your 6-word summary and your questions. Find a link to it in the show notes or on our site. If you've been enjoying the podcast and want to help us keep going, consider subscribing to our Patreon. Wouldn't be able to keep the show running without their support. Get a ton of awesome perks. Jordan, what did we drop in June for our patrons?
Well, in June, David, I finally made you read Baki.
You'll have to listen and find out if I liked it. Oh man, you'd be listening to our recordings live or listening to the warm-up audio. Find it at patreon.com/shonenflop. And I want to read off some of our wonderful patrons. Starting with our Dolphin Dads, we have Glornak, Papa Sean, Spider Hands are enough to turn a good girl bad, and Rachel, my wonderful wife. We had a great time going to the Final Fantasy concert yesterday. Moving on down to the Ravioli tier. Ravioli actually has a dog nemesis. I was walking her today and she absolutely said, absolutely not. I refuse to be near that dog. I'd never seen it before. I didn't know she had a dog nemesis, but she does now apparently.
Oh my god.
We have Chris, Eva, Janet, Lady T, Matt, Spiffy, T, Tiffany, Trevor Schuckner, and Trevor. I also want to give a big shout out to Jeanette Davis for coming back as a patron. Thank you so much for supporting the show once again. Moving on down to the King of the Forest, we have 090Z, Bandit Stu,
My girlfriend,
Brad, Chad, Gasnake, Jacob Andrew Galloway, Justin Hefner, Kirbymon, Marty, Max Baker, Riley, Sarah Hydra, T Wolfwood, and Tommy Boy. And then moving down to our Galactic Ball Federation officers, I've got Buggy's Bussy.
Oh god.
There we go.
Oh god.
Someone listened to us. A mid-sized sedan, Andrew Rogue, Andy's Islands, Aura, Bisa, Blamumu, Brandon M, Brian Sexton, David Ackerson, Dennis James Moan, Trago, Drew, Dylan Crider, Nigel, Fax, Flash Cardman, Generic Man, Hans, Hey Randall, Ian McConnell, our newest patron. Thank you so much for signing up. Keanu, Lay, Manly P. Hall, Marabara, Matt, Mike, Obscure Reference. Oh, God, I really can't believe that they played all 11 minutes of it yesterday. Resident Warhammer Nerd, Ryan Jasinski, Salvia, Scott Fischler, Sybil, Silly Rookie, Simping for Senpai Ash, Staghorn, Taper Clip, Tucker Watley, Wright, and ZZ Digital, and a big thank you as well to our Beast Children.
Yes, thank you. I love all of you very much. You are all my children, just like the soap opera.
Oh, I love you too. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening. Tune in next Monday for our full episode on Muddy, featuring the artist Carly Jenny Mazur.
Yes, thank you so much. This has been Jordan.
This has been David.
And you've been listening to Shonen Flop. David, say it.
Keep on flopping floppers. Bye.